Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Subra. Is it Dashara already there? Happy Dashara.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, the 10th day is tomorrow.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, tomorrow we're also celebrating.
Yeah, great. So,
Wonderful.
I mean, finally we have come to the sixth week.
Can you believe it? Oh my God. I was just telling my partners, I'm going, sitting, I sent a picture of the Karen Deep's assessment. I said, it's my assessment time. Wish me luck. I was telling my daughter, don't judge me if I don't do well, because that's the dialogue they give me when they come back and go, we don't know how we've done, blah, blah, blah. I did
Because,
ask if there was anything that I needed to prepare, but he said no, that was enough. Is
yeah.
there anything else I needed to
No,
prepare for
no,
the?
no, nothing. Just the two of that, and of course there'll be some kind of conversation where we'll go through a few questions and all of that. So that is more like a part of the process, and this is also will be getting record of course the first part of it I'll remove, and exactly from assessment, I mean that will be archived. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And we will try to complete with I mean, generally it is 45 minutes, but we'll still keep a buffer of 15 minutes. So within
Okay.
60 minutes, we'll complete. And this will not be counted as your sixth session will be only next week, not this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay. So
One
yes,
second.
good morning, ma'am, first of all, and best wishes.
I'm going to do it again. Let's do this properly. Okay, I
Uh,
get my hair done. Okay, now you can say good morning. Now we start the recording.
yes.
Yes.
I'm also writing down, just a moment. Yeah. So a very warm good morning to you from the other country. And as a part of this entire program that you're taking, this mind mapping practitioner certification that you're undergoing, what we want is more than an exam or more than an assessment. It is just an understanding that yes, now that you will be certified, after today you will be certified practitioner in mind mapping, we would want you to use it more and more in your field. We would want you to talk about it to more people. And now the mere thing that we have reached here today, it means that you've already undergone all the things that is required to become practitioner. It is more, this is more like just a small assessment, but the process is already completed. You already know what are the rules of Tawny Buzan mind mapping. So all that is already known to you. Now the next part is the journey has begun, and you just have to take it forward from here, in the sense you don't have to go and teach people mind mapping, but you have to tell, okay, there is this technique or framework, and you have to use it in your own field. In your case, it is your leadership coaching, and maybe you'll be writing books in future. So whatever it is, you can use it for your own purpose, and also speak about it to people, involve them in mind mapping. So that is the entire purpose of becoming a practitioner. So welcome once again. And as we start our assessment today, first of all, you'll be presenting about yourself. That is, who is Kirandip Sandhu through a mind map. And we would want you to give us a complete picture, briefly, but at the same time, a complete picture of who you are, what is your work, a little bit about your background, and all of that through a mind map. So yes, I'm allowing you to share your screen. Yeah, it is allowed, and you can start.
Okay. Good morning, Shubra. Thank you for this opportunity to do this mind mapping program with you. Absolutely. I've been enjoying it since this first day that you introduced this program to me. And I've been trying to learn snippets of it, but I didn't want to go with half-cooked knowledge. And hence I decided that I wanted to do this program of certification of mind mapping. So yeah, now I have my mind map ready. Just 1 second. So the core question comes that who is Kiran Sandhu? Just a brief about myself. So I have put it into a mind map, and I'll take you on this journey about understanding a little bit about myself. Who am I? Well, to start off with, if I had to just give a glimpse of it, I am a coach. I work with people in their transformation journey. I've been working with people in their personal as well as professional growth journey, helping them write books as well as get onto platforms, speaking competitions, as well as onto TEDx. I'm also a corporate trainer. I am with the John Maxwell team, as well as HRDF certified. So in those areas, I can talk about leadership and communication coaching. And under John Maxwell, I've also done DISC personality assessment. And I'm very, I believe in mindset shifts. So these are certain areas that I focus on as a trainer. I'm also a social entrepreneur and the founder of the Give Back to the Community, which I will be briefly talking about it later. I am an educator from the core soul. I've been in, I went into this field in 2003, completely starting with teaching from primary school, secondary school, and then going into university students. And I found my true love was with adult learners, and that's where I have focused. I'm also a researcher, focusing a lot on education. So the impact of education, and with recently more about it from the point of view of educational technology, as well as women and their role as a researcher in leadership roles. So those are the areas. And in order to be doing all these things, I need to be a lifelong learner. And hence today, I'm also part of this program just to keep upskilling myself so that I can be a better version of myself. To my education, I started off with my bachelor's from Mumbai University. And then I followed that with my Bachelor Honors from University of Waikato in 2002. And in 2000 and between 2002 and 2003, I did my master's in political science, and my thesis was on the India's strategic relationship with China and India. So this was the trilateral relationship that I had analyzed in 2002, and that's the time when Putin had just come into power. And after that, I also I moved to Malaysia, and there I realized that the scope for pursuing my work in politics was going to be limited. And as my bachelor's was in education and political science, I had the second avenue to start my second master's from the University of Leicester in TESOL and Applied Linguistics, which I completed in 2007. And from there, I have also gone into the John Maxwell Leadership Coaching Program. And recently in July 2022, I also completed my HRDF, which is Train the Trainer certification. So these are all adding on to my coaching and training programs. This was a little bit about my education. So let me talk about my mission in life. This was actually shared by a student of mine, and he said, ma'am, that you do the 3E, which is you educate people, you empower people, you enlighten them, and that's what you do, your mission. And I have started resonating with this thought very deeply, and I would like to explain that as well. Now, in order to enlighten someone, I always believe, and this is my quote, which says, don't limit your limitless potential with invisible barriers. So in order to grow, to be enlightened, you need to be always remembered that there are so many invisible barriers. Don't limit yourself. So that brings me back to my core mantra that your voice matters, so speak to be heard. From there, I also talk about education being one of my pillars. So in order to keep educating yourself, you have to have the courage to walk over the bridge, because life happens when you step forward. If you believe that you know it all, you stop growing. And that requires you to know that you don't have it all. You have to keep growing. For this, as in order to keep sharing knowledge, to keep learning, I do this through my teachings, my trainings, my coachings, which are in leadership, communication, personality development. And this goes back to what I say, that your voice matters, so speak to be heard. You learn, you enlighten others. So it's like a loop that keeps coming up. And through all of this, you empower people in their journey of growth. I keep empowering people. I believe that I empower people through my knowledge sharing, my consultations, my coachings, which are back in communication, personality development, leadership. But I also empower people by giving by contributing back to the community. I've been, which is again, created additional leadership opportunities at the grassroots level through my NGO, which is called the Give Back to the Community, which is currently supporting 150 students, which I'll talk about shortly. So this was just a little bit about my mission, and my mission is to enlighten, educate, and empower others so that they can reach the pinnacle of their growth. And that's the bullseye on the pinnacle. Coming to my work education, I think the first experience is that I am a mother. And in this, I have learned to be each day I'm trying to learn to be a better mother. So that there is no qualification to be a mother, but I think it's one of the very hardest jobs that many people have to do. So it requires adaptability, it requires resilience, it requires a mindset to go through that journey. It requires determination and persistence every day to deal with the new challenges that your children throw your way. So I think that this has been definitely, which should be added to my work experience to talk about. And along with that, as I said, I am an educator from the core of my soul. My journey started as a tuition teacher in 2003, teaching English as as a second language. And from there, I went into Swinburne University as a lecturer and program coordinator, teaching courses such as English, designing new programs, curriculum development has been done. And then after that, I was given the opportunity to also be an academic developer, which required me to, as a role of the academic developer in the education quality unit of Swinburne University, involved organizing and conducting educational quality pedagogy, curriculum training workshops for our university lecturers, as academic quality is guided by the Swinburne Educational Quality Framework. So I was responsible for training the university lecturers as well as professors so that they could work on their pedagogy to become more effective educators versus just subject knowledge experts. In 2012, I decided to take a plunge and start my entrepreneurial journey. And here I ended up opening one of its kind children's play area, in the first of its kind in Borneo, in Sarawak. And it was very well received, and we were able to bring smiles and joys to many thousands of children between 2012 and 2019. And in 2019, just before the pandemic, we ended up closing this venture. And that also, all these lessons resulted in me working with people as a coach. Now, I decided to go into full-time coaching in 2020. Before this, I was always a trainer, not a coach. So I was, I did two types of coaching, and that happened in the pandemic. One was the one-on-one coachings that I went into, which was things like TEDx coaching, where I have so far had 6 speakers who have gone onto the stage. And I've also gone into live coaching with 10 leaders from across different industries that I have worked with. Along with that, I've gone into group coaching, personal transformation, over 150 individuals. And in terms of communication coaching, I have worked with over 500 people, and this could also be through the webinars as well as the university outreach programs that I have done. My journey as a trainer actually started way back in 2005 itself. I was working with in Miri, and from there I was given many opportunities to work with different industries. So some of the experiences were in Malaysia itself. I've highlighted some of the few. We're working in 2006 with the Department of Immigration Malaysia to help them with a program which was Enjoy Your Stay in 2006 in Miri and Cebu. I've also, as part of the faculty of language and then academic developer, I was responsible for internal as well as external trainings. I had conducted community outreach programs on speaking and writing, speech competitions, as well as teacher development programs. And as part of the internal trainings, as I was an academic developer, I was involved in the entire curriculum development for the teachers. I was, as part of my entrepreneur journey, I was closely working with the Ministry of Welfare, Community, and Women and Family. And that gave me the opportunity to work with, one of the big ones that I had done was a workshop in 2014, a workshop for 500 childcare providers was conducted by the Ministry of Women and Community, in which I was a keynote speaker, as along with doing training sessions so that in smaller batches to help these trainers to understand the importance of health and safety in their own premises. So I was involved in that, bringing in the examples of my own Edu Entertainment Center, which is called Children's Place. I was also part of the Thayer Udin's Senior Management Leadership Program in 2006. I had created an 8-week program to develop the senior leadership team and help them in their journey of growth. I was also part of the I was also a Trinity College test trainer. In fact, I was the assistant area manager for Trinity College, and I was helping them with training teachers so that they could conduct the Trinity English exam in their own centers. Recently, I've also conducted so another one which I did in Malaysia recently was Swinburne University recently was done as a trainer, where I did a workshop on leveraging social media. There was another one which I did on team building recently. So these are just some glimpses on the highlights that I had. As a corporate trainer, which I did virtually, I've just listed a few of them. I've been conducting programs for the Infra Center of Excellence, Monash University, Swinburne University, Parul University, Leadership Card, and English Enhancement programs, which have all been conducted virtually since 2020. So my virtual corporate training only started in the pandemic. And other than that, in India, I've been doing some programs on customer excellence in cities such as Bangalore and Ayodhya. And in Nepal recently, I had conducted a workshop also for 130 teachers on how to have a success mindset and help students have a success mindset. And it was a very a session that was very close to my heart. Reason being, it was conducted in my own school where I was a student, where they all made me feel like a failure. So it felt like going back and sharing with them that how they made me feel and how words of an educator can impact the future of the students that they are touching every day. I've shared briefly that I'm a social entrepreneur. So this is something that is also very close to my heart. I believe that my journey of being a social entrepreneur is inspired by my father, who himself is a philanthropist, had worked with the community in multiple ways, and I didn't realize that those were traits that I was imbibing and taking along with me, and the leadership qualities came from that. So in 2020, I started during the pandemic a small initiative called Give Back to the Community, where I was teaching people personality development, and in return I asked for Guru Dakshina of 500 rupees Indian, and I wanted it to be given to somebody who did not have it in the community at that time. At that time, one of my students who enrolled for my programs was, his name was Soumitra Dubey, who himself is quadriplegic, and he shared with me that the Guru Dakshina that he was supposed to give to me had in fact been given to one of his visually impaired students, and that was where this whole initiative started. Today, we are more formalized, and we have created a trust called the GBTC. I will roll it forward by showing what is the vision of this mission. The vision is to bridge the educational gap in the society by providing educational support to underprivileged, deserving students through technological intervention in rural India. And what has been the role of GBTC in this? Well, the role is to bridge the gap. We are taking rural, talented, underprivileged students of India, and we are becoming the bridge by providing them access to teachers, online platforms, and resources. Resources could mean smartphones and books, and opportunities could be new communities, new knowledge, and showcase their creativity. And the goal is to help them prepare for government-aided residential schools, scholarships, equal education opportunity, and prepare them to be global citizens. So this is what GBTC is doing in bridging this gap. And what we have done so far, the impact since 2020, December had, I have formalized it and had the first initiative, which I'll talk about shortly. So far, since June 2021 till September 2022, we have impacted directly 120 students, indirectly over 200 families, which have siblings who are also learning from them. We have 30 volunteer teachers. Over 12 lakh rupees has been collected and put into these projects, and we have completed 2 projects, and the third one is ongoing, and the fourth one is ready to launch. So what are the initiatives that have been taken? Well, as I shared with you, it started with the first initiative, which is called Project Enable in bracket Enlighten. This is my student Soumitra Dubey, and this is when we supported 13 visually impaired students to give them smartphones so that their education, which had been hampered in the pandemic, could be helped. This is just a quick brief of how we worked with them. From there, we went on to the second project, which was Project Enable. And in this time, we did not take the visually impaired students. These were underprivileged students, but did not have access to technology. These are certain numbers which show the number of online classes, assessments, and how each of these students was supported in this project. And now, from there, in April 2022, we have now gone on to Project Enable Super 60 Plus. A baseline test was conducted, out of which 107 students have been taken in, and currently this project is ongoing. What are the wins? Well, from the wins in Project Enlighten were that all our students have now got admission into special schools. So that's the first win. From Project Enable, our first one big win was we had our student getting admission into Vidya Gyan. And so this was a big win for us out of 22 students. And out of the same 22 students, we were able to help another 7 students get enrolled, male students get enrolled into Ashram Padhati Vidya. So these are some of our wins that we have been able to achieve what we had set for. So that was my social entrepreneurship journey. As a researcher, I am both an editor as well as a writer. I finished a book. Another 2 more are coming. One is Women in Academia. I forgot to write that. As well as a writer, I write a lot on blogs, as well as 2 submissions have been put in for journal articles. I'm also a public speaker. In my public speaking journey, I am a TEDx speaker, and I have spoken on the mindset of a Wonder Woman, which was conducted last year in 2021. I am also a podcast host of Coffee Chats with Kiran, and which started in 2020. And after that, in 2021, I rebranded it and called it Leadership Talks for Emerging Leaders. Currently, we are in season 2. Recording episode 35 this week. I'm a virtual host. I've been conducting many virtual programs. I've been a guest speaker to multiple platforms where I have spoken. And my current highlights are that I'm a coach. I am a TEDx coach. I go into TEDx coaching, personal transformation, communication, and leadership. So these are just some of my work experiences that I wanted to share. I am currently member of the Malaysian English Language Teachers Association, as well as the Professional Speakers Association of Singapore. And my social media handles are all embedded. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Leadership Card website, my Spotify, where my podcasts come, my GBTC website, my Coffee Chats with Kiran, as well as my Instagram. So this is just a glimpse about Kiran Deep Sandhu. Thank you.
Wow. So this was, I mean, I would rather say it's an honor to know all the great work that you're doing. And it's not just you're being focused on one area of transforming people's life, but I would say I was rather mesmerized or stunned by the social entrepreneurship aspect of it. Because a lot of people do other things, empowering people, and that is your passion, but parallelly running so many things together and all reaping such good benefits, where you have not just focused on the country you are residing, but you also have focused in the villages of India, and you're helping children. So I mean, this is amazing, awesome, and I don't know what exactly adjectives I should be using, but I would just say that yes, it's a privilege to know you. That is from the perspective of the amount of work and that you're doing. And I always start my sessions or webinars with one phrase that people keep on saying knowledge is power. But what is the use of knowledge if we don't know how to leverage it? And I think you have given such a beautiful example that right from your college days or whatever you have learned and the experiences that you have gathered, either through success or maybe at times you had not succeeded, but you gained some experience. So whatever it was there, I think you are using each and every of that to transform people's life, adults, children. And I'm sure that is also bringing a lot of value to your family, where you're also able to help your kids. So it's like a full that word that you have used, the mindset of a Wonder Woman. I think you are the perfect person to speak about that. And I'm so happy, and I wish that you give more and more TEDx talk in different countries and different places, so that you touch more lives, more women who see or look at you as a role model, that yes, even we can do it. So that's the best part.
Shubha, I'm going to just add one thing I just realized after talking to you, that one aspect that when I'm talking about empower, and I should have got missed out, but I'm going to add it later. When I'm talking about empowerment, it's not only empowering an individual through my coachings, So in my GBTC, it's not only empowering the children by bridging the educational gap, but I would also like to say that empowering local grassroots level leadership programs have been initiated. So where now the teachers are getting empowered to take their own initiatives, and how I've done that is also through the research scholarships that have been launched for teachers from primary school to actually conduct research, and the GBTC Foundation is giving them funding is being given to the teachers to continue their research so that they can contribute back to the community as well as policy making. And more and more positions are being created within the Project Enable for new leadership so that people can take new programs. And I would like to be the first one to share with you that which is not highlighted here, the future plan is that in November 2022, we are doing the community outreach program, in which so far we were bridging the gap through online technology. Now we are going into we are taking 14 rural schools in which there will be a smart classroom being set in each of these schools, so that we can, our impact, which is currently 170, now will reach more than 2,000 students, and indirectly that many teachers will be involved because they have to be trained in order to go back to the Nipun Bharat movement of bringing numeracy into the lives of these children. So we are working on in this direction from there.
Wow.
Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to add.
And I mean, of course, I would, I mean, I think it's good that you told, because setting up a smart classroom, even today in cities, when we go to now, the moment I say government school, it sounds a little bit, but then that fact is fact that we don't have a lot of smart classrooms, especially in government schools. Forget about in cities, forget about the rural schools, yeah. And even if one school have, and if that school have like, let's say 1,000 or 500 children, and the teachers will be teaching them, so their life is transformed. And if you're setting up in a number of schools, I think it's kind of a revolution that you're creating, because it's so much needed and we don't have it yet. So excellent. And I mean, I would rather say thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to add on that.
Example. Yeah, this is a perfect example of how we can give back to the community, and you are doing it. You are empowering not just individuals, but now it is like groups. And this teaches, you know, we say that when we train one student, we are impacting not just that student, but all the future generations and every life that he touches. And when we train teachers, the impact is again manifold. It just multiplies, because teachers will
so that we have the two-pronged strategy in back to the community. The two-pronged strategy in the objectives of GBTC is one, empowerment of, I mean, the bridging the gap by bringing the children into equity and equal education. But the second one in my objective itself was the professional development of the teachers, because I believe that every teacher, if they are empowered, can actually make and impact multiple of, thousands of students. So that was the two-pronged strategy, so that we can tackle the education problem. Because if a child, if we can tackle education, we are bringing more parity and equality in this world.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way. You can't do it all other ways. If it is whatever the growth rate, it will be slow. But when you do it this way, initially people may not see the changes initially, but then it's like creating a long-term effect. It's not just in 1 day, 2 day, but it can last for several hundred years also, because generation after generation, the students share that. So as I say, thank you so much for all of that. Now coming back to the mind mapping aspect of your entire presentation, I would say it was a complete presentation, because you have beautifully presented about yourself, your work, what you're doing for the community, about the lives that you have touched, and all of that. And you have used almost all the features, like you have used images, you have used notes. I can see that you have used beautiful pictures, like not just one picture, but you have actually created a kind of slide or graphics, and that graphics came, like for example, your 3 model is beautiful. It's so excellent in the sense that, yeah, even if somebody is looking at it for the first time and has no idea about what you are doing or what your work is about, even then, just by looking at the mind map, at least the person would gain 30% knowledge without you even explaining things. And that is the purpose of mind map. When we just look at the mind map, even if the presenter or the person who is not present there, from the mind map itself, we get so much of information. For us, it is, I think 30% is a small number. It would be like 50, 60%. The basic idea would be there that, okay, this is the person, what she has done, this is the model. So all of that is there. You have also used a link to your TEDx video. I have seen that. You have added links of all your social media handles, your experiences, and beautiful pictures. And I think it's a complete mind map. And the purpose that we were doing this, that henceforth, whenever you go to sessions, of course, this mind map, I'm sure over time you will keep on adding, deleting, may not be deleting, but you'll keep on modifying it. So it's a complete mind map altogether. And you have used links. I can see you have also used connections or connecting two different branches. So yeah, it's just perfectly, all the things have been used. And you have also highlighted, I think, some of the, for example, the 3 model is in a box. I can see that. And you have used different color codes, the blue. And could you just explain the color codes once? Why?
Yes. So I have positioned 3 colors. So anything that is to do with me as an individual are all in red.
Okay.
So red, red, and red. So that's Kiran. When it comes, and even including my mission, anything that is to do with my profession, I have used blue. So that is going to be blue as a coach. And yeah, so if even the TEDx, that's me as a person, so that's in red. But coach is in all blue, education is in blue. Anything that relates to my work, John Maxwell, leadership card, all of this comes under the program of blue. And as you can see, my GBTC, or Give Back to Community Trust, color is green. Everything that is on this map related to my foundation has been positioned in green. Wow. So those are my identifications that I have already created for myself, which is red, green, and blue.
Excellent. Because in mind mapping, we also believe in the power of colors and mnemonics and codes. So I can see that all of that, all throughout in the mind map, and this color coding that you have done for yourself. It's like I mean, of course, you have a personal brand and all of that, but it's like adding more value to that. People will remember next time you present, okay, they will remember you with the red color. Give back to community, for example, I will remember it's green. And of course, even the color has a lot of significance. So it's well chosen colors with color codings. I think this is excellent. So yeah, it's a complete mind map. I have nothing to say about any addition that it would requiring. It's a complete mind map in by itself. And the only thing is, you could keep on refining it in future when you do more trainings, more some success stories, maybe all of that you can keep on adding to it. And testimonials, I'm sure you have a lot of testimonials. So it's like in future you can keep on adding to this. You might feel that it's a big mind map and it's becoming huge, but I would say that I have been listening to you very intently for the last 20-25 minutes, and it was beautifully presented in the sense that I did not feel for a moment that okay, I have already known a lot about her. It was only, I want to know more. That was the feeling. And I'm sure all your participants or the workshops that you do, they would feel the same way. And especially if you're doing it offline, they would even enjoy it more. So yes, and maybe in future you can also add a lot of testimonials and all of that thing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so it's just like something that came to my mind right now. So but yeah, that would be very nice, because after doing so much of work, I'm sure that there are so many people who would be keen to tell you that how their life has been changed because of you. Yes, yeah, they would love to share their experiences, or many would have shared already. Yeah,
absolutely.
So excellent. Yeah, so
in fact, recently I sent you a message also, and when I got my workshop students to do the workshop,
Yes,
I
yes.
I didn't want to show them this whole map because it was short and I wanted them to do it. I just ended up showing this slide to them. And then from there, I just showed them that these are all the things. So now come up with your own mind map. And it was brilliant, brilliant exercise. I did share that.
Yes, yes, yeah, I remember. Yes. So yes, this is a very beautiful way of putting things in mind map. And as I said in the very beginning, that today this is just an assessment, but this is all an effort of 6 weeks that you have been putting, and already you have become that person who can help others mind map their thoughts.
Absolutely.
In whatever field they are. So excellent. Moving on, we know that Tony Buzan's mind mapping was a result of some 4 decades of research about brain, and he spoke a lot about, or he has written books about convergent thinking, divergent thinking, the principles, the 7 principles, or what we famously call as the most important graph. That was actually the genesis of mind mapping. That came first, and it was only after that, and of course after a lot of other research, he found that the simplest way to put things on a paper or map out things on a paper, or today it's digitally, is through arranging it radially with some small rules. And though it's very simple, but it works brilliantly, and it not just for us, but it has worked brilliantly for millions across the globe. So I would want you to share in the form of a speech or something, a breakdown of how would you apply those 7 principles in any of your work, in your professional or personal front. How would you use it? Yeah.
Okay, so this was a very interesting task I will be sharing with you. So I had written my speech for my TEDx last year in November 2021. And so at that point of time, I did not know about the Tony Buzan's 7 MIG print, the most important graph principles about primacy. To be now able to see that in same speech and position it from the aspect of how do you keep your audience engaged? How do you keep your audience with you? What are the techniques that a speaker can add on to bring that, maintain the interest? Was something that it was quite interesting for me, because to see it from my own speech and whether I had done that. So let me share my screen with you, where I have tried to decode my own speech, which was about the mindset of the Wonder Woman. And the mindset of a Wonder Woman was a story of this woman who went through her own set of challenges, but believed that she was able to come out because she thought she was the Wonder Woman. If I look at it structurally, this particular speech had 4 parts. 4 parts in the sense there was a part, the first story had 2 parts, which was, one is about the IVF and second was about her postpartum depression. Second part, so that is 1A, 1B, followed by that, the second story goes into her entrepreneur journey, and the third one is about the COVID and post-COVID, what happened. So these are 3 different stories that I had put in my speech. So let me start off with primacy. Now, primacy is how do you start your speech? And I remember that when I started my speech, and there were many people who were watching me, including a very close friend of mine who always was skeptical about my speaking. And I remember when I finished, she called me up and she said that the minute you started, I literally sat down to listen to you, because you did not start the way I thought you would. So I decided that when I started, My context that I started was putting it straight into April 2008. Once again, I'm sitting on the edge of the bathtub waiting and praying for a miracle. So it's all about going deeply into the pain point, the scenario being set, and the prop that was utilized was my pregnancy kit. And I am now in that phase of vulnerability in front of others about a struggle that I am shaping. So I decided to deliberately go into deep dive rather than build the story up, so that the emotional connect that I can create with my audience, many people in the audience would be women or even husbands of women who have gone through different challenges of getting pregnant. So as a husband and wife, we go through these challenges. So I remember many husbands telling me that I could relate to your story because I could see my wife struggling many times when she talked about it. So the primacy utilized was straight into the bathroom prop. I was vulnerable. There was tears rolling down my ear. Tears were rolling down. I was in pain and the pain was not physical. It was pain of disappointment, pain that I was a failure once again. And the antidote over here was using pregnancy as a struggle moment for me. And how did I relate it to those who were not in this journey? It was about sharing with them that a pregnancy kit, one line, is like that failure that we see. And these failures could be in an examination. It could be a failure in your job application. It could also be failure in the faces of your parents. So failure is my failure. Each time in these is not a physical pain. In an exam, you don't feel physical pain. In a job application, you don't feel physical pain. But the emotional turmoil that you are going through makes you feel that you're in so much pain. So the relevance was, how can I turn this cross into a tick? That's the question that I'm asking the audience. So the primacy was to immediately grab the attention of the audience by throwing them into the deep end of the well. The recency, which is what was that last thing that I wanted them to take away, was my call to action. My call to action was that I wanted them to recognize their fears. I wanted them to recognize that we all actually suffer from the 3F syndrome, which is fears, failures, and forget. We forget who we are, we go through failures, and we are full of fears. But we need to build, we can overcome these fears using the 3C model of success, which is courage to keep overcoming those challenges that come our way, to be consistently turning those stones into milestones. And instead of forgetting our identity, reinventing our identity with conviction that who we are and stay true to our values. And that's what I wanted them to take away, that you all are a Wonder Woman. Speak, because your voice matters, so speak to be heard. Your journey matters, you matter. Let's not forget ourselves in this journey because of others. Because you are a Wonder Woman. So that was the last thing that I wanted people to take away. The words that were constantly repeated were Wonder Woman, because I wanted it to be something that stays in their mind, that they are a Wonder Woman. Mindset. The word mindset has been used multiple times, sometimes to talk about the stereotype mindset that people have about looking at others. It talks about converting that into a positive mindset about things. And how do we convert that is using the 3C mindset, which is on courage, consistency, and conviction. And lastly, as the theme of this particular TEDx was crossroads, I have used the word crossroads multiple times because in our journey, we are multiple times on crossroads, and we need to have the mindset to keep moving forward so that we can become a wonder. Mnemonic symbols imagery, I realized I had utilized a lot in this. Some of the examples that I started off was, for example, failure with crosses, and success is with ticks. So I'm not saying the word failure, I'm just saying cross. And instead of saying success, I'm saying ticks. The word Wonder Woman over here represents power, strength, and supreme. Imagery of the body clock ticking, or me jumping off a plane without a parachute. So words like this, like every time I wanted to do something difficult, it felt like I was jumping off a plane without a parachute. Will I come out alive? Will I survive? Will I land? But should I do it? So those are, because every time you want to jump off a plane, you feel your feet are caged. You're being held back. So in the beginning, I had started off with me jabbing injections into my stomach. So I wanted it to be a visual creation in the mind of many women where you're constantly jabbing those injections. And pregnancy is not all that glamour, but there's a lot of pain that actually goes into it. Uncharted territories, comfort zone. So these are words that I utilized to share what I want to say. Perfect woman. I've also put this image of a perfect woman that you are a daughter, you're a mother, a sister, a friend, you're a professional, you're a wife, you're a daughter-in-law, grandmother, mother-in-law, but everyone wants you to be perfect. But is it possible to be perfect? My crossroads is about pregnancy dilemma and also the support to other women. So the word crossroads has been shown to depict people that I have supported in terms of helping with adoption, with my own body transformation. So these are words and images that I was creating in the minds of how you are not alone. There are other people who have gone through this journey, and if they can do it, so can you. I wanted to highlight about suffering. So suffering during COVID times. And during COVID times, we all have visuals of people dying, people going hungry, people out of job, companies closing, schools closed, and children out of clothes. So this is an entire paragraph, and I wanted them to be remembering that time when we were all in that very distressful situation. And I've also talked about, in fact, I've written notes where in fact, the entire sentence or the speech, what was there as the world came crumbling down. My world came crumbling down. I was disappointed myself for not only failing to take the right decision at the right time, but also disappointing the people who had believed in my venture and invested in me. So this way, in my speech itself, not only the imagery is used, but the lines are showing why did I feel that my world had come down. Sorry. Money burned. So a lot of time there's visuals of money burned. So I had also talked about it. Money invested by stakeholders was burned. And that's how I visually created it. I've talked about the chameleon many times because when I talked about the roles of a woman, I've tried to interpret that link them to being like a chameleon. We gotta keep changing our identity to suit the needs of others, just like a chameleon. I didn't at that point realize there was a quote, but today I do, that I talked about stones into milestones, and Sachin Tendulkar had actually said a sentence like this: people throw stones at you, you convert them into milestones. So I had said, take a stone, and every stone that people throw at you, convert them into a milestone. So that's how I used it. Silver lining was again a thing that I had utilized. Today, I know that that the silver lining of my failed business is that there are no wasted efforts. My learnings have become my leadership lessons that I share with emerging leaders in their growth journey through my coaching company, Leadership Card, and my podcast, Leadership Talks for Emerging Leaders. So these are just also notes that I've added into my speech so that the people who want to go through it can actually see what the context was in which the particular mnemonics was utilized. Association. I've used the word baby and women in multiple ways. And the word baby, for example, has multiple meanings. For me, the babies over here meant my twins, Risha, Rihanna. It also meant my business, which was Kids Clubhouse. It also meant my company, Leadership. My learnings have become my leadership lessons. So this was my company, Leadership Card, which was in 2012, I decided I wanted another baby, but this time in the form of a new venture. I worked hard to deliver my baby. So this was the way I had utilized to explain about my new venture. Then I talk about the new communities. So baby is birth, newness is what I meant. So it has also resulted in communities that came out of the word baby, whether it was Mission on the Moon. So this was utilized in my speech. My first initiative, Mission on the Moon, started in December 2020 which merged my passion to teach and service to the community. I connected with 22 people virtually who were also stuck in their homes in the pandemic to help them develop a positive mindset of personality and skill development. Then it comes to my community leadership. So this is again back to my leadership community. And then it comes back to the give back to the community. And I've talked about it in terms of in my speech also, that it resulted in my give back to the community. So this is new. A baby means new to me, and it could be in the form of a physical baby, or similarly, the word woman has been utilized. It has different meanings. A woman could be a mother, has been utilized also symbolic to an entrepreneur, a coach, a philanthropist. So I've utilized the word woman in different ways over here. So I'm trying to show that we all have different identities, but we forget who we really are because we are living a life which others want us to live. So if we want to keep living the life we want to live, we have to remember that we all have a Wonder Woman inside us. The VR effect at multiple times is keep throwing it to the audience, utilizing baby in the different ways that it was utilized right here. So the constantly, every time they thought baby means a child, I would throw another baby, which is a venture, or a baby, which is a new community. So that way I kept on changing it. And mother is also utilized the same way as a woman, an entrepreneur, a coach, a philanthropist. And a chameleon, because constantly the identities were being changed. So I had to keep switching between a woman who had multiple roles, and I had to become a chameleon in each situation. So that's the VR effect that I have tried to this should be misunderstanding and understanding are actually linked to the VR effect. I was trying to link it, for some reason it wasn't working this morning, where every time we're talking about baby and mother, it's a new role that comes up. So they're creating misunderstanding and understanding in the minds of the listener that which baby is she talking about. And based on the situation and the challenge, my identity has changed just like the chameleon. In order to maintain the interest of it, I realized that I had divided up this entire storyline into a struggle and success way. So the struggle, for example, was my IVF, where my success was my pregnancy. And my struggle was my career stagnation, but resulted in the birth of Kids Clubhouse. So every time there was a dip, I was able to bring the lift. So every time there's a low, I'm bringing that up. So my business closed and COVID happened, and that there was a lot of gloominess in the world, but that resulted in me creating new communities such as Mission on the Moon, Give Back to the Community, and Leadership Card. So I believe that all of us can utilize these 7 principles in multiple ways. But today I have shared with you how I have deciphered a speech which was spoken in December, the mindset of the Wonder Woman through the MIG. Thank you.
Wow. This is again, I felt almost I was revisiting the speech. Of course, I have seen it earlier, and I was revisiting the TEDx speech, but this time in a more detailed manner, and also trying to understand what went in the preparation of that speech. And it's not just the preparation of that few days where we write the speech, but it is the preparation of all the experiences, because this speech would not have been possible without all those experiences. And what you are calling, it's not failures, but you just put a cross mark and that's it. You don't call it failures exactly. So with all of their experiences, with the success and the various experiences of whether it was becoming a mother or whether it was opening the kids clubhouse, all of that put together, all those experiences put together took you to that prestigious stage. And you have beautifully explained each of that, and I just felt like I was revisiting your TEDx talk rather. So thank you so much for that. There were definitely goosebump moments when you say about the disappointment and how a single line brings that disappointment, and how any women, and it's not just the women, it's the spouse also, the husbands also go through that. And maybe even if they don't go through, but maybe there were few people in the audience when you spoke about this, they could feel, okay, yes, my partner is also going through this maybe. So there are various ways of looking at it, that how this will surely, make the person or your listeners or your whoever was not just attending at that time, but even in future, or even people who will be looking at this, they will feel connected. May not be, even a man can feel connected about how it's not just about the women, but I see that it's a complete message to a lot of people who think that, okay, failure and then it's over. But every time you have dipped, you just came up even better, or with I would say stronger, and with double triple the force with yeah, with a lot of learnings. The mind map specifically, I would say that it's a good one, because the VR effect is just mind blowing. The VR effect is, I would repeat that it's mind blowing, because nobody would think in this context, the VR effect. When you say baby, people will generally, uh, I can't put a percentage to it, but I would say mostly people would only think about baby in the form of, a child, human child, and they won't think about it as a startup or a company or any project for that matter. And of course, the mother or the chameleon. So all of that, and people often take it in negative understanding that, okay, what does it mean? Is she saying that she changes color? But you said, no, yes, I change roles, and I have to, because I'm a Wonder Woman. Every woman does that, and we have to change roles based on the situation. So I think that VR effect was excellent, and understanding misunderstanding and the VR effect together, it was, I mean, amazing. And now that you have broken it down, of course I've seen your speech earlier, but now that you have broken it down, it's giving me even more meaning. I'm able to understand the complete thought process behind it. And about your what do you call it, the imageries that you have used, these are beautiful imageries. I think even somebody watches your talk just for once, I think they would remember all of this. This jumping of a plane without a parachute. This is such a powerful picture. And so many of us, we feel this. Maybe today I'll feel this, and then okay, I get better, and tomorrow I'll go back to the field, work. But somewhere down the line, each one of us, maybe in cycles, may not be. Some people would feel it frequently. Some people would go through it maybe once in a year, but this is something we all feel at some point of time in life, and it is not like over again. It will come, maybe even at the age, at a much elderly age, it will come again, but that with more awareness, we know, okay, it's just a thought and it will go away. But this jumping of a plane without a parachute is very powerful. Wonder Woman, of course, that's a theme. And you are showing how the feet is chained, and even if you want to jump, that fear is there, you feel that pain, somebody is pulling you back. Crossroads, this imageries or the use of mnemonics is just excellent. And about your project, the communities that you're helping, and if you could just go a little, yeah, the association, yes, this is what I was again talking about. This association beautifully, with whether it's about your twins, business, and communities. So this beautifully are associating. So next time when people look at you, they will know that it's, you are not just a person who is talking about baby, or the moment we say baby, we are nurturing, we are giving it so much of our love, attention, care. So all of that is going, it's like giving our life purpose. So your life purpose is all of this. So people will
Absolutely.
immediately understand. So the idea was using the most important graph, the 7 principle. The idea is how we use it in our life. And whether we are taking a lecture in the class, where we know that the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes is what the students are going to remember. So, or whether you are doing a TEDx talk. So you have beautifully created the primacy and the recency. So that the
Mhm.
initial part and the end part, under any situation, people will not forget, because it's so powerfully you have put it with a unique approach. Next, you have associated and repeated certain words. So you want people to remember the three mindset, the crossroads, the Wonder Woman. These are some words you want to put in the brains
Mm.
of all your listeners. And because that has a higher purpose, then if you see association, of course, then VR effect, the moment people might feel, I won't say bore, but if in case in a speech of, let's say, 18 minutes, or even if it is a 45-minute session, or whatever, even in your sessions and all of that, the moment you bring some kind of VR effects like this, so powerful, there is no chance that people will even feel bored at any point of time. They will be always, this interest will be automatically built up. This interest, automatically you are keeping the engagement rate high throughout the session, whether it's a 45-minute session or 60-minute session, because you have this VR effect, which is very powerful. And the success, that failures, or you say struggle and success. So every time there's a dip, you come back strong. Every time there's a dip, you come back strong. Or
Yeah.
yeah, you come back not just strong, but you come back with all the experiences, and now you have become a better
Mm.
person.
Mm.
So I think it's a perfect, from the perspective of a mind map, it's excellent. From the speech, of course, I think there are so many people who have already told you this, so I would be just another person who would be saying that yes, it was a wonderful talk. And now that I know all that it has gone through, and also of course after seeing your profile and the huge work experience that you have undergone all these years, and the coaching, the social entrepreneurship part, and all of that, I think that is the reason that you reached the prestigious TEDx talk where you're talking about this. And I'm sure there is so much more in your life that you can talk about. This is just maybe a beginning, or is, the beginning of your journey with that you have spoken about the women, or the mindset of a Wonder Woman. But from your profile, I could see that there are at least minimum, I would say minimum 10 talks that you could, it is already there. Even opening a kids clubhouse, that's a story by
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I see
Absolutely.
so much of stories already there in your maps. And if you, as you mentioned, you are also a TEDx trainer. So when you explain people all this, how you have the amount of thought process, the amount of preparation, the amount of strategically putting things in a way that people connect, because that is the main idea, that you want people to touch lives through your story. You want people, you want to share your story because you know your story matters. So when you show it in to them in this way, I think they will be able to craft their
Mm.
speech better. it will give them an idea. Okay, it's not just about going to the stage and, you know, just speaking or saying something, a small part of the life. It is the process that a person has undergone, and
Absolutely.
now they are on the stage. So
Absolutely.
as a TEDx trainer also, I think this will be very helpful to you.
That's why I decided this
Yeah.
was a good option for me to decipher my own story. I do want to add on that when I finished this talk at that day at the TEDx event, sadly it was done virtually. I didn't ever I didn't think that they would actually, like, the organizers would actually say this, but they said, well, when I finished the voice, in fact, they were hosts, they said, it says the mindset of the Wonder Woman, but there were many snippets of it where even a man was able, I mean, as men, we were able to relate to it, because yes, maybe the IVF part is different, but the part about the entrepreneur journey, about the challenges, about the struggles, the COVID situation, everything was so relatable, and how we felt trapped. You know, we were not able to go. And a lot of my business friends were able to relate more from the entrepreneurial journey. So I was surprised that at the end of the day, they actually, I wasn't expecting it. They said, okay, we're going to actually vote for, not that this is going to be out there for anybody, but we're going to vote for which speed got the most interest. And if I was surprised that when they did an audience poll, the mindset of the Wonder Woman actually got the highest votes that day for the best speech that had engaged them.
Of course, I'm not surprised, I would say, because it deserves so much.
No,
I mean,
but I still was not expecting it, because, you know, I really didn't know that it would, but I was happy that it was very woman focused, as you can see, and I'm very much into women empowerment. But I was happy that men were able to relate to it. So I think, yeah, sorry.
yeah, it's a complete, that's what I say, that it's not just the women, but the man could feel, you know, even men play various roles in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
So even they would
Exactly.
feel, okay, yes, this is about me, the
Mm.
struggles, the success. And
Mm.
you know, even the men have a lot of people expect a lot from men, a perfect
Exactly.
men. So
Exactly.
except, and even the about thing about pregnancy or the body clock ticking, they may not even if they are not directly relating it, but they are attached to their partner, so they would.
Absolutely. Every time the woman goes through the challenge, they go through it too.
Yes,
Because again,
so
there is societal pressure on them to perform as a man too. You may blame the
absolutely.
woman. They may blame the woman that she didn't have the baby, but behind in their own heads, they are going through that struggle. They just don't talk about it.
So emotional trauma both goes through, and I think this entire thing, even about the mission to moon and leadership lab, you have changed so many lives, all as I can see. So I think this is a great one, and uh, in future, of course, as I said, you have so many stories all together in the first mind map that you have shown me.
Yeah.
As I said, there are minimum 10 stories that you can just right now apply and, you know, go and speak on TEDx stage, because there's so much you have acquired in life through your learnings, through your experiences, and both success and struggles. So there's so much to offer to the world in terms of changing lives, in terms of empowering, because when you share your story, you're actually not just sharing your story, but you're sharing the story of many of those people who don't have the privilege to go to, because of one or the other reason. Not everyone can go to the TEDx stage and speak. So for you are also speaking on behalf of them. I always believe this. You're also speaking on behalf of all those people who cannot speak for themselves, and you're sharing the story. So yes, it's a very powerful one. And the MIG principle has been beautifully utilized here, and I'm 100% satisfied. This is, I have not seen anything better than anyone doing better than this, because in terms of MIG, generally they would just stick to the common, like, okay, this is how we will start, this is how we will end. But for you, it's like complete map, which position, what you have used. So excellent. So thank you so much for this once again. It was like revisiting, and I really got goosebumps at certain times during this explanation. I mean, well, while you were saying this. So I love this 3C mindset,
Thank
and
you
yeah.
for pushing me to explore my own speech once again. So I think I have to give you the credit for introducing me to the MIG, to push me to rethink about it from the perspective of how to utilize have I done what I have, because I didn't know I was doing what I had done, and that was unawareness. And I think I
Yes.
lost you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, thank you for these two wonderful presentations. And moving forward, if you allow me, I would like to ask you a few questions just about mind mapping.
Okay.
So, because
Sure.
there's nothing more I can say about these two mind maps. I'm perfectly satisfied, and I wouldn't say satisfied. That would be a very small word. I would say it's excellent and beyond I could expect.
I think the internet, I need to just give me a second. I want to. With my internet.
Is that okay?
Yeah, my internet. I'm just trying to put the hotspot. I don't know what's the problem. I'm losing you. Okay, it doesn't matter. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. I can hear you, and only in between there was some small glitch, but now it's fine.
That's okay.
Okay, so as I said, in terms of your presentation, it was just too amazing, and I'm falling short of adjectives and words. Otherwise, I would have used better words, of course. Coming back to your journey as a leadership coach, and now that you also are a mind mapping, I would say you are also a mind mapping practitioner. So, in case you are going to place, or maybe your give back to community children, or those schools, rural schools, where you're planning to implement this smarts, smarts classrooms and all of that. And if they don't have this mind meister, or if they don't have access to any of this digital tools, so will you be able to make them, I mean, of course I've seen with adults you have already done that, but with children's, can you do that? At least they need not know what is mind mapping, but at least as children, can you help them put their thoughts on a piece of paper in the form of a radial diagram, where they write about their hobbies, their strengths? So will you be able to help them do that as a practitioner? Not necessarily in the form of telling them, okay, this is mind map, these are laws, not necessary, but passively, can you integrate this in their life?
Absolutely. 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. As I've told you that I'm an educator at heart, so it doesn't, the minute I learn, I start with the implementation. Then I started the implementation at home. I was getting Ria to do mind mapping. Obviously, in her case, it was using the mind meister itself. Purpose was to help her with the spellings, so that she can learn dad, mom, and words like that. When it comes to the school, I mean, and then with adults learners, immediately I was able to utilize it in my for my training session. Excellent results came out, and the purpose was for the title was get to know each other, and they have to create a mind map about themselves and then utilize that. And they some very interesting things came up. One was that significant events, and then one of the girls said, she's a lawyer, she said, when I was working in London, I worked as a waitress. Or there was another one, the woman shared that in her mind map itself, that her dark moment where she had colored it black was her going through bouts of depression because of her brother's heart crash. So even through that mind map, these people were able to do it. Now, for the younger children, as I was talking about, definitely that's a possibility. Reason, as I've shared with you, that I work on a two-pronged strategy when I'm working with with the education system. One is with the teachers directly, and one is with the students. So it has to work both ways. If I'm able to influence the teachers to be utilizing tools like that, then it brings more trickle of effect in the classroom, where they can start introducing mind mapping as a tool without saying it's mind mapping, where they just ask them to start creating, images of things that we want them to talk about with, so that their learning and retention can be longer. And so that works. We work with the teachers who then put that implementation into the classroom, so the impact is longer. So I think it is paper, pencil, chalk, board. It can be done in multiple people can work on the same mind map in the classroom using the or even the board that is there. So it can be a collaborative mind map that children could be utilizing. It doesn't have to be one. So we divide up the board into 3 sections and get 3 people to make mind maps using the same board. I mean, I think that it's all about the teacher's creativity or how they want to utilize the resources that are in the classroom to get their classes to be engaged, as well as make this possible.
Wow. So yeah, I'm perfectly, on with the idea that there is no doubt about it, that you could actually go to rural schools, or maybe you could train the trainers and let them do this in their schools. And even if it's not a full-fledged mind mapping, but at least the idea that you have shared, that even adults, when they made a mind map, some part of the brain was activated, and they remembered, okay, this is from where I have come, the journey I have made, and they feel so empowered, as you have said, with the adult workshop that you have done, and the things like she was a waitress and now she is doing her, she's a lawyer. So all of that, even with children, it will be very effective. Their fears,
even for the household, I'm trying to make them change their thoughts about it. Yesterday, there's my sister-in-law's like pre-engagement is being done. So I was just sitting with my mother-in-law and I said, okay, what are we doing? And I quickly created a mind map and then shared it into the WhatsApp group in the PNG form. So it came as an image rather than a document. So only what needed to be done. And I had put it in things to be done, things for my mother-in-law to do, things my sister-in-law to do, things that need to be done, what the maids are doing, what are their roles, what are the things that Kiran has to do. So all the mind map was sent knows clearly what they need to do. So I think that mind mapping is such a powerful tool for me. I'm utilizing it for my meetings, my writing my proposals now, which I'm sending to companies. I've already started doing that. I have been utilizing, for example, note taking and during meetings. I am utilizing it for my big change that I've now this month done after our last session, because I realized that I can't work with the 15-minute blocks. For me, it's the per day, the 3 goals. So what I did is I created the month of October. I started in September itself. And then I started with the dates like 1st of October. So then what are the things that need to be done? And now I'm just ticking it off. So, okay, this was done. So instead of writing it on paper now, and even I thought I'll buy a thing, I started now I've started doing it on over here itself. So I'm utilizing it in every way possible that I could actually be utilizing it. Wow.
So that reminds me that I had been using mind mapping, and specifically during my sister's marriage.
I know you told me. That's the reason.
I was, and then I have a student who has done the COCP program, which is a 30-day challenge. And he had done his baby shower, his wife's baby shower planning through a mind map. So yeah, it works. And okay.
And then I also shared with utilizing the mind maps to go into the book, because I found it was so easy. So I'm like everywhere full of magic.
Excellent. And the last question from my side would be, because I'm just trying to ensure that, yes, whatever in this past 5 weeks we have learned and discussed, and we have implemented. So how far we are going with that, now that I'm satisfied with all of the different ways that you are doing it. The last question is, would you be able to use it like a counseling tool for your team members, or for, I don't know, maybe your mentees, your coaches, even offline, online, as a counseling tool?
I don't do counseling,
No,
but it's for my
not the
coaching.
professional, yeah, not a professional counseling, but imagine a team member, or a staff member from your team comes up to you and comes up with a problem. So as a, or as an educator is automatically a counselor for the students. May not be professional counselors, but for some minor issues that they come up with, even a small conflict or a personal trauma that they are going, some small things. But the moment they come, so first level counseling is always done by the educators or the team member or the leader. So from that point of view, would you help? I mean, how would you approach this?
So I just did it with somebody already. So I had a person who had come in for a discussion with me. So in order to understand that person's problem, this was an informal consultation. I had to understand it, that what was their problem, what was he struggling with, what were the cons that he was having, and then what could be the opportunities. So we did it together, and he was asked to come up with these two sections on what were the challenges and opportunities. Only then could we take it forward. So this was just a basic one that I had done it because he was struggling in a question, and I had to just take a certain part of it and then take it from there. So I'm utilizing it as a coaching tool constantly.
Excellent, excellent. So yeah, this is when I said counseling, I didn't mean those professional one, but I mean exactly like a psychological counselor. But what I meant was this first level of dealing with the doubts and conflicts in the minds of our team members or our students or whomever whose ever life we are trying to transform. So yeah, so this will come as an intermediary tool where sometimes you can just tell them whatever is there, just put it out on a piece of paper.
That's what I did. So this is another one. When I was the first one that I was doing this, I implemented. So I realized that day their problem was to deal with the conflict in the mind. So I put it into the mind map. I said, okay, so now this is what we will start doing it with. Start writing it down, blah, blah, blah. So this was the work that we went through it. I shared with them, and then I said, okay, now start writing about it. And later I had actually kept this as a I created it as a like even a template which I can utilize, because this was not there, but I created it as a template that next time my coaching clients are going through something like this is how I'm going to do the breakdown with them and get them to do the reflective task thinking.
Excellent, excellent. This is nice. So yes, I think you're already doing all of it, and the counseling is the thing where most people say, okay, this we don't know, but you have already started. I mean, you are already doing it, so there's no question about it. So yeah, thank you so much.
And for my research also, using it as a research tool. So we are doing a research paper that is being submitted. So one second, I want to just show that to you also. Best practice. This is the one. This one is, so this was just we had to write a paper on the best practices of GBTC, and it had to be coming in from how are we going to be doing it. So I'm doing it with two other, Soumitra and Dr. Anamika. So as they had sent me notes which were in WhatsApp. So so what I did is I've actually just copied it over here directly, and so it makes it easier for me to later transfer that into Word and then write it down into the article format.
Yeah, so but right now it's already there in the map. Once it is there in the map, it is not going to go anywhere else. It is there and it will only flourish. Yeah, so
exactly.
Excellent.
So the research part was also, I'm already utilizing it to frame my thoughts on how I would like to tackle the research question.
Excellent. I think that's all about it, and you're all, and as you will feel yourself that after maybe a this transferring this knowledge to others and talking more about it with your children at home, with your clients, with your mentees, with your team members, you will feel that you will come up with new ways. For example, this conflict, I mean, how to deal with inner conflict, that mind map. It was your own creation.
Yeah,
so you will come up with like this maybe 100 to 1,000 templates, over the years, and those can be, this your leadership card or Kirandeep Sandhu's that in that
That's going to be my
yeah
exactly my templates. Yes.
yeah, and that KDS where you have written no that red color, it's about me. So those
Yeah.
will be coming out from your own brain, and hence we
Yeah.
say that with mind mapping, what we are doing is we are not doing anything new. What we are doing is whatever is there inside our brain. Tony Buzan has made a format in this way that it comes out on a piece of paper or on a
Mm.
template or on MindMeister, but it is basically whatever we have, although it is coming out in a creative way. So our creative
Yeah.
potential is being enhanced. So
Yeah.
thank you once again so much for this beautiful presentation, for giving me the opportunity to understand that tremendous amount of work that you had been doing all these years. Many of it I know, but a huge portion of it I was not aware of it because uh, maybe you are not someone who would blow your own trumpet a lot of times, but yeah, but I believe that now we have come to a point in life that uh, a lot of people who don't know much, they speak a lot. So it is
Mm.
also our responsibility, people like you. It is, I say responsibility because only when you say that, okay, this is what I have done in my life, or this is, then people will look up to you. So it's not like blowing trumpet, but it is telling your story because you know it will create a difference. So I'm so for it that you please go and share this complete mind map where you talk about Kirandip Sandhu as a Wonder Woman, as a mother, as a all of that. You talk about it maybe in different forums, so more and more
Yeah.
people will understand that it is not just some 2 years of work and here she
Yeah.
is.
Exactly.
It's not
That's
2 years of
that.
work. So
No, it's
that
not.
is so important. I want, and it's not just because we are talking now in this forum and I'm talking to you about this, but I believe that we all women, we need to speak more about our hardships, our struggles, and how it
Absolutely.
is not just in 2 days we came here. So, and for you, it is like, so you, as you say, 2 decades. And I can see even before, maybe even as a child, you were always someone who would think, who would
Mm-hmm.
maybe, we say, okay, this child is naughty, but the naughtiness will not come up by itself. There is all,
Mm.
as you said, I went back to that school, and then now I have shared my story and told the teachers that yes, you can actually change lives. So it is so important that the way you deliver, the way you speak or communicate with the children,
Yeah.
it needs to be very carefully crafted. You just cannot go and show your temper to the student just because it was a bad day for you.
Yeah.
So how
Absolutely.
the Nepal workshop that you said,
Very
it's
important. It was the most important for me because talking to the same teachers who had
yeah.
so deeply
So
hurt me.
this itself is a I don't know. I mean, you could always think about it. This itself is a potential TEDx talk. But
Yeah, absolutely.
how you felt
Yeah.
in that moment, that happiness going back to your own school and now training teachers.
Yeah.
So I think thank you for all that beautiful work that you're doing for the community. As a member of the bigger community, we are thanking you.
Thank you.
And as a mind mapping practitioner, we will be sending, because it's Dashera in India,
Yeah.
so offices will
Don't
be
send
open.
me when it gets lost.
No.
Yeah, because right now there's a holidays now.
Okay, yeah. So we will be posting it only on Friday.
That's fine. So when
Friday. So I'm not sure because last time we posted, it reached in 10 days. So
I
it
didn't
will,
get any postage, right?
no, not you.
Okay,
I
somebody.
mean, somebody else. And within India, it reaches in 3 days. That's not an issue. So we will be sending it to you on Friday, and we will be also sharing all that speed post number and everything for you to
Okay.
track, and we will also track. So there are no chances that it will get lost, but you will receive a hard copy and the soft copy with your name. Today itself, we will do it, and we will send it. The soft copy is just for you to, have it before the hard copy reaches you.
So I
But
can blow my trumpet.
and I say it's not, yeah, this blowing trumpet thing. And I have learned this not by myself. Even I was a very shy person. I learned this from one of the professors who had, taught in more than 10 countries. He was in Sweden. So, sir told me, Shubhra, this is something you have to learn. Like, he saw me for the first time, something around 2012. And no, this is, आप इतना कर रहे हो, and why do you don't even, no, sir, it's okay. This is not being humiliated. This is just you're foolish. That's it. Or you don't have the guts to go and speak. So that was the way he just blew me and with his words. And he was not rude, but he was purposely trying to pinch me. Yes, you
Yeah.
need to do this. And now
Mm.
I see that he have written a very beautiful recommendation for me on LinkedIn. And then, like, now we are more like a teacher student, and we speak a lot. We have become like friends also. But I know that had he not told me, I would not have gone and shared my story. Even on small forums like in a college or maybe just in front of 50 teachers or something, but he gave me those idea or the push that yes, go and share your story. So it's not about blowing trumpet, but sharing stories so that more people get inspired.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and once again, thank you so much. We are a little over time as
I
we
know.
thought, but I think that's completely okay because the amount of knowledge that you have shared and the beautiful TEDx talk that you have broken down, it was excellent. It was a kind of session for me. I just listened very intently, not the MIG, but my point was the amount of work that went behind the TEDx talk. So thank you so much for that. And I wish to see many more TEDx talk because I was like, oh my God, so many stories are there already.
Yeah, there are many stories. Right now I'm so concentrating on the give back to the community. It's, trying to have launching 14 schools is not an easy task. So there's new things that are coming up. So I know I put my hands in a lot of things, but it's again something that I'm so passionate about, which is giving back to the community. And education is something that can empower many people. So I will link that back to empower, enlighten, and educate. I'm going to link those connections because local leadership is something that really can empower more people to make the change. You can't do it single-handedly. You need more people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you once again
Thank
so
you
much.
once again, Subra. When we get time, I just want to know whenever we have time about the bigger plate, and I didn't purchase it yet because I wanted to know how to do it. I was not able to download any of the mind maps from there. So I wanted to know how it can be done later.
Okay, maybe next session we could spend some
Next
10
session,
minutes,
5
10
minutes,
minutes, yeah,
show
5 to
me,
10
and
minutes.
then we can play. Perfect.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, Subra.
Yeah. Happy Dashera. Yeah.
Happy Dashera. So you mean now I'm a certified next 6 weeks? What are we going to be doing?
Next 6 weeks, like for mind mapping practitioner, whatever you have implemented already, that is fine. The next 6 weeks will be more about implementing, for example, research. We have templates where we have, suppose you are starting to write your own book. So how will you start? Then book. You have a book with you, and if you remember last week we did not complete it. So mapping a complete book.
Good, perfect. So we will do all those.
All of that, and we will implement it because learning is one thing. We have done the basics already. Now it's more about implementation phase or curriculum design. So all of that, and maybe some of it you are already doing, but the only thing is we want to know that using this MIG principles, using mind mapping, how we can do it too. And then yeah, of course, by 10th week we should be almost doing it, and the last 2 weeks we will keep more like again going little deep. Can we come up with something fresh? I mean, new in the sense from you, just like how you came up with that conflict mapping. So something new from your leadership card, or for as you as a person coming up with this a new template or something.
I want to start presenting using remember that was a challenge. I'm still
but do you present it? But you did it today already.
I know, no, but no, my entire I want to do the whole talk using. I know I did it. I know that. Yeah.
Today, the first one was exactly that only. You spoke about your entire life, and at least
using the map,
at least the important part of it. So I think you'll be able to do it, and we'll do it more frequently. Again, in one of the session, not as a part of the assessment, but more about understanding whether all the elements are there or not. And whether you can completely replace PPT.
Yeah, that's what.
And that will happen when I show you some of my presentations, or when you show some of your presentations, and interactively we can change it.
Correct.
So all those things we'll be doing in the 6 weeks, and as the first 6 weeks have gone very easily, you will not feel that it's
no, I'm enjoying it. I'm learning every day. I'm absolutely enjoying
and
this
there's so much. I mean, there's so much there. You will always feel. I mean, okay.
I'm learning that as I said, everyone didn't want me to do this coaching. This is the one that I wanted to do because I feel that this is a tool that is it's helping me. So this was something that I decided to invest on myself. I've attended so many sessions of other people. I've not gone and done any coaching with anyone because for me the need was not there. A lot of things I can learn myself, but I wanted to learn from you this time, and hence I've been asking you for this coaching for so many months, if you remember.
Yeah, true.
Great. So, perfect. Thank you so much, Subra, for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, happy Dashera, ma'am.
Happy Dashera. Bye.
Bye.